Hello everyone and welcome to my Beyond the Gates CBS Update 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Nicole confesses to Ted, Jacob unhinged, Andre's fears. Fairmont Crest may still be reeling from the devastating aftermath of Derek Baldwin's death, but if there is one thing Beyond the Gates has proven time and time again, it is that grief rarely stays isolated. One tragedy has a way of spreading through an entire community, touching lives that seem unrelated on the surface while quietly changing relationships forever underneath. As a new week begins, emotions are running high across town. Long buried feelings are rising to the surface. Dangerous obsessions are taking hold, and several residents are about to make confessions that could alter the course of their futures. At the center of the drama is Nicole Dupree, who finds herself facing an emotional dilemma she never expected. Ever since her marriage to Ted Richardson collapsed, Nicole has worked tirelessly to move forward. She has built a new life for herself. She has embraced new opportunities. She has attempted to redefine her identity outside the marriage that once seemed unbreakable. Yet despite all her efforts, some connections refuse to disappear. Recent weeks have shown Nicole struggling with thoughts she never intended to revisit. Memories that should have remained in the past continue resurfacing. Moments shared with Ted continue haunting her during unexpected times. No matter how much she tries convincing herself that chapter is closed, her heart seems unwilling to cooperate. Now those emotions are about to spill into the open. According to spoilers, Nicole makes a shocking confession to Ted, and the admission could send shockwaves through both of their lives. The revelation centers around the fantasies Nicole has been experiencing lately. For Nicole, the confession is humiliating. After everything that happened between them, admitting she still thinks about Ted in such an intimate way is the last thing she ever wanted to do. Part of her wants to keep the secret buried forever. Part of her wants to pretend the fantasies never happened, but another part of her understands that honesty may be the only way forward. The problem is that honesty comes with consequences. Ted has worked hard to rebuild his life as well. His growing relationship with Shanice Johnson has provided him with stability during one of the most chaotic periods of his life. While their romance has certainly faced obstacles, Shanice has become an important source of comfort and companionship. Now Nicole's confession threatens to complicate everything. How is Ted supposed to react? Will he be flattered, confused, tempted? The answer may not be simple. After all, Ted has never completely erased Nicole from his heart either. Despite the pain of their separation, despite the mistakes both have made, there remains a connection between them that refuses to disappear. That reality has created tension for months. Every interaction between them carries emotional weight. Every conversation feels loaded with unspoken feelings. Every glance seems to hint at unfinished business. Nicole's admission could force both of them to finally confront truths they have spent months avoiding. Unfortunately, there is another person who could be caught directly in the fallout: Shanice. For months, Shanice has battled feelings of insecurity regarding Nicole's lingering presence in Ted's life. Although she genuinely cares about Ted, she has often questioned whether his heart is fully available. Recent events have only intensified those fears. The emotional closeness between Ted and Nicole remains obvious to everyone around them. Even when they attempt to maintain professional boundaries, their shared history is impossible to ignore. Now imagine how Shanice might react if she learns Nicole has been fantasizing about Ted. The situation could quickly become explosive. Shanice has already endured tremendous emotional strain following Derek Baldwin's death. Losing Derek devastated her. His death left a massive void not only in her life but throughout the entire community. Derek was more than a coworker, more than a friend. He was someone people relied upon, someone who consistently showed up when others needed help, someone whose presence brought stability to chaotic situations. His sudden loss continues sending ripples through Fairmont Crest, and Shanice is feeling every single one of them. The grief has become overwhelming at times. Simple daily tasks now require tremendous effort. Moments that once brought joy now feel hollow. The future she imagined suddenly looks very different. Fortunately, Shanice is not facing her pain alone. Ashley Morgan remains one of the few people who truly understands the depth of the loss. Like Shanice, Ashley is struggling to process a future without Derek. The complicated history they both shared with him creates a unique bond. Together they may find comfort. Together they may find healing. Together they may discover ways to honor Derek's memory without allowing grief to completely consume them. While Shanice battles heartbreak, another resident of Fairmont Crest appears to be heading down an increasingly dangerous path. Jacob Hawthorne has changed. Everyone sees it. Everyone feels it. And the people who love him most are becoming deeply concerned. The undercover operation that exposed the plasma ring left scars far deeper than anyone initially realized. For months, Jacob lived inside a world built on lies. Every day required constant vigilance. Every interaction carried life or death consequences. Every mistake could have resulted in exposure. The pressure was relentless. Now that the operation is over, Jacob should be recovering. Instead, he appears to be unraveling. His obsession with Derek's death has reached alarming levels. What began as grief is slowly transforming into something darker. Something more dangerous. Jacob cannot stop replaying the warehouse shooting in his mind. He cannot stop questioning his decisions. He cannot stop imagining alternative outcomes. Most importantly, he cannot stop blaming himself. Rationally, he understands he did not pull the trigger. He understands the situation spiraled beyond anyone's control. He understands Derek made his own choices. Emotionally, however, logic means very little. Jacob sees a different version of events. In his mind, Derek died because he became involved in Jacob's investigation. Derek died because Jacob brought danger into his orbit. Derek died because Jacob failed to stop the violence before it erupted. That guilt is becoming toxic. Naomi Hawthorne recognizes the warning signs immediately. As Jacob's wife, she knows him better than almost anyone. She notices the sleepless nights, the mood swings, the bursts of anger, the distant expressions, the growing obsession. And she is terrified, not because she doubts Jacob's strength, but because trauma can affect even the strongest people. Many viewers have begun wondering whether Jacob may be suffering from post-traumatic stress. The possibility certainly seems plausible. The symptoms continue mounting. Hypervigilance, emotional instability, intrusive memories, difficulty adjusting after prolonged exposure to danger. Everything points toward a man struggling under an enormous psychological burden. The question becomes whether Jacob will seek help before things get worse. Unfortunately, his current mindset suggests otherwise. Instead of healing, Jacob wants revenge. He wants justice. He wants accountability. Most of all, he wants someone to pay. That determination could push him into increasingly reckless territory, especially if his emotions continue overriding his judgment. Elsewhere in Fairmont Crest, another Hawthorne family member is preparing for a tense confrontation. Isaiah Hawthorne has questions. Serious questions. Questions that only Joey Armstrong can answer. The relationship between Isaiah and Joey has remained somewhat under the radar compared to other storylines, but their connection runs deeper than many realize. That connection gives Isaiah access others do not have. It also places him in a unique position. He understands Joey better than most people, which means he can recognize when something feels off. And lately, everything feels off. The plasma ring scandal continues generating new revelations. The warehouse shooting raised even more questions. Rumors continue spreading throughout Fairmont Crest. Joey's name keeps appearing in conversations, even when evidence remains limited. Now Isaiah wants answers. Direct answers, honest answers. Whether Joey is willing to provide them remains uncertain. Because Joey Armstrong is a man built on secrets, he has survived for years by carefully controlling information, by revealing only what benefits him, by keeping his true thoughts hidden. But pressure is mounting from every direction. Jacob suspects him. Donnell questions him. Vanessa worries about him. And now Isaiah is demanding the truth. The walls may be closing in faster than Joey realizes. Meanwhile, another emotional storyline develops between Andre Richardson and Chelsea Hamilton. Andre has spent much of his life carrying invisible wounds. The loss of his parents in a devastating plane crash shaped nearly every aspect of his adulthood. That kind of trauma never fully disappears. It becomes part of a person, part of their identity, part of the lens through which they view the world. For Andre, loss remains a constant fear, a shadow that follows him everywhere. No matter how happy life becomes, a part of him always worries it could disappear without warning. That fear is about to come into focus during a vulnerable conversation with Chelsea. According to spoilers, Andre reveals his greatest fear. The admission promises to be deeply emotional. Several possibilities exist. Perhaps he fears losing Danny Dupree. Their relationship has grown increasingly significant. Danny brings joy into his life, stability, passion, hope. The possibility of losing her would undoubtedly terrify him, especially given his history. Another possibility centers around Danny's health. Breast cancer remains a serious concern. Watching someone you love face such uncertainty can trigger overwhelming anxiety. Andre understands better than most how quickly life can change, how suddenly loved ones can disappear, how permanent loss can be. Whatever specific fear he reveals, the conversation highlights an important truth about Andre. Beneath his confidence lies vulnerability. Beneath his strength lies pain. And beneath his optimism lies a man who has experienced profound heartbreak. Chelsea may become one of the few people he fully trusts with that reality. The question is whether she keeps his confidence, or whether the information eventually finds its way back to Danny. Given the interconnected nature of Fairmont Crest, secrets rarely remain hidden for long, especially emotional ones. As the week unfolds, all of these storylines appear destined to collide. Nicole's confession threatens to complicate her relationship with Ted. Ted's reaction could impact his future with Shanice. Shanice continues battling grief over Derek. Jacob's instability continues escalating. Naomi grows increasingly worried. Isaiah pressures Joey for answers. Andre confronts his deepest fears. And throughout it all, the lingering effects of Derek Baldwin's death continue shaping nearly every corner of Fairmont Crest. Because even though the warehouse shooting is over, its consequences are only beginning. Lives have been changed forever. Relationships have been tested, trust has been shattered, and as new secrets emerge, old wounds threaten to reopen. One thing is becoming increasingly clear. The residents of Fairmont Crest may believe they are moving forward, but the biggest emotional explosions are still ahead. And when those explosions finally arrive, nobody will emerge untouched. Hollywood rarely shows this side of divorce. Another reason this story exploded online is because Hollywood rarely normalizes emotionally healthy separations. Usually, celebrity divorce coverage focuses on destruction, court battles, cheating, humiliation, money fights, custody wars. But this situation, it challenges that narrative completely. McLean's post essentially argued that relationships don't always need to fit society's expectations. Sometimes love evolves. Sometimes friendship survives. Sometimes people genuinely care about each other, even after romance ends. And whether fans agree or disagree, that perspective clearly resonated, especially with people tired of seeing bitterness treated like the only acceptable post-divorce outcome. Now, obviously, every breakup is different. Not every relationship can evolve peacefully. And not every former couple should remain close. But McLean wasn't presenting her experience as universal. She was simply refusing to apologize for it. And honestly, that confidence may be what sparked the strongest reactions. Because people often become uncomfortable when others reject traditional emotional scripts. Could this influence future Beyond the Gates storylines? Now soap fans are already theorizing. Could producers incorporate this real-life dynamic into future storylines? Could these actors eventually share emotionally layered scenes? Could writers intentionally lean into fan curiosity? Honestly, it wouldn't be surprising. Soap operas have always adapted to audience reactions, and when viewers become emotionally invested in actor chemistry, whether romantic, dramatic, or nostalgic, producers notice, especially now that social media instantly amplifies fan excitement. And right now, there's genuine buzz around these two. Not necessarily because fans want reconciliation, but because people are fascinated by emotional complexity. That's what soaps thrive on. Complexity. Not black and white emotions, not simple endings, but layered relationships that keep evolving over time. Which ironically makes this real-life situation feel incredibly soap opera-like itself. Beyond the Gates continues winning off-screen too. What's becoming clear is that Beyond the Gates isn't just succeeding because of shocking twists. It's succeeding because the cast feels deeply human both on and off-screen. Fans see emotional honesty, humor, authenticity, friendships, vulnerability. And stories like this reinforce that emotional connection. At a time when daytime television desperately needed fresh energy, Beyond the Gates arrived with history, representation, strong performances, and emotional storytelling that actually feels alive. And now even off-screen headlines are generating emotional discussion. That's when you know a soap is becoming culturally relevant. Not just watched, but talked about, debated, analyzed, felt. The real reason this story hits so hard at its core, this story isn't really about celebrity gossip. It's about emotional evolution. Two people shared years together, built memories, eventually separated, and somehow still found peace. That's rare. Not impossible, but rare. And maybe that's why people reacted so strongly. Because underneath all the soap drama, many viewers secretly wish more relationships could end without total destruction. Maybe not reconciliation. Maybe not romance, but respect, understanding, humanity. That dinner photo quietly represented all of that. And whether fans understood it or not, they definitely felt something looking at it. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe my channel without missing any update.